With the advent of supersonic speeds, the continent of Australia is becoming condensed when considered in terms of traveling time. A pilot may take off on a routine flight from an aerodrome on the coast and within the space of 1 hour fly over densely populated beach and riverside suburbs, pass over mist-covered mountain ranges and out into the sparsely populated country of the interior. The pilot's survival equipment is the result of experience and research. Check it before you take off. It may save your life. When filled, the 3-pint water bag forms a comfortable seat as part of the pilot-type parachute. A jungle knife is an essential weapon for survival. And the Ms. X kit. This kit, carried on the waist belt or in the pockets of the flying suit, is contained in a rainproof canvas pack fitted with belt loops, has 2 plastic flasks which may be used as water bottles when emptied, and a heliograph signaling mirror. The contents of 1 plastic flask is a well-balanced medical kit. Instructions are printed on individual containers and should be followed carefully. Sulfaguanidine to alleviate diarrhea. Ointment to relieve eye irritation. Adhesive plaster. Iodine to sterilize scratches, insect bites and shallow cuts. Atibrin tablets afford protection from malaria. Tweezers to remove foreign matter. Sulfanilamide powder to sterilize deep wounds after cleansing. And band-aids for covering. Oral hygiene is not forgotten. Sulfadiazine for internal treatment of severe wounds. Salt tablets to relieve cramps. Halazone to purify water. And benzodrine sulfate to relieve fatigue. The second flask comprises emergency rations and a utility kit. Tropical eating chocolate, a sustaining food which can be eaten slowly as desired, and chewing gum to retain the saliva in the mouth when water supplies are rationed. Bouillon powder, a tasty soup when added to hot or cold water. A waterproof match container with a compass in the lid. And fishing line, wire trace, hooks and sinkers. Needles, cotton and safety pins to repair clothing. And a small saw, sharpening stone and razor blades for use when cutting implements are required. The left-hand pocket of the Mae West life jacket contains a medical kit designed to meet the needs of an airman forced down at sea. The right-hand pockets are used to house a waterproof torch complete with batteries, a dye marker, and a heliograph signaling mirror smaller in design than that of the Ms. X kit. Should the need arise for supplies to be dropped to a stranded airman, several types of dropping containers are available. The torpedo is a convenient form of container for parachuting water, food, blankets, and medical supplies. The use of sandbags, straw-filled bags, and liberal quantities of loose straw ensures that supplies, even of a semi-fragile nature, arrive on the ground in good condition. The torpedo is constructed from heavy-duty straw board and is supplied in 7 parts with parachute ready for assembly. A more durable type of container is the CLE Mark III. It is constructed from plywood with metal reinforcing bands and hinges. A metal nose cap is fitted to prevent damage to the body of the container on impact. The CLE Mark III is a one-compartment container which can be divided by means of separation spacers to conform with individual packing requirements. In this case, 2 compartments are used, the front for storing a heavy water container and the rear for smaller cans of water and provisions. Again, sandbags and quantities of straw afford protection from impact damage. Survival kits have been designed to meet the needs of a stranded airman wherever he may be forced down. However, knowledge of how to supplement these kits with food and water from natural sources can prove invaluable. In May 1953, a party of RAAF personnel made a 500-mile trip by jeep through the MacDonnell Ranges of Central Australia. The intention was to travel over a wide area of country, locate and photograph as many varieties of bush food as possible, and to learn firsthand from the natives and bushmen who live in this area how and where food and water may be obtained. A jeep and trailer, together with rations and supplies, were loaded into a Dakota aircraft and flown to Alice Springs. The Central Australian bushland, although very picturesque in nature, is no paradise, and bushmen make no secret of this fact. Water is at a premium. During the summer months, evaporation is so great that all surface water is lost, and homesteads depend on artesian bores to supply their needs. The bed of the Finke River, which floods after rain, becomes a river of sand during dry spells. Experienced bushmen have lost their lives in this area when usually reliable water holes have dried up. The pilot of an aircraft forced down in this territory would be well advised to land near a creek bed or bore windmill, if circumstances permit, and stay near his aircraft. An aircraft is much easier for a search party to find than a lone airman wandering in the scrub. The aircraft should only be left to go to a known water supply, and then a trail should be blazed and a signal left for the search aircraft. A man can live only 3 days without water. When searching for water, the best course is to follow a dried-up creek or riverbed downstream. Flood debris always accumulates on the upstream side of trees. Water can be found by digging in the bed of a dried-up creek, but energy should be conserved by digging only where the sand is moist. This airman could dig down 50 feet without finding water. While searching for water, there are means of obtaining moisture. Whilst this may not satisfy the thirst, it will give relief until a satisfactory supply is found. A bushy-topped sapling can be chopped down, the lower end sharpened to a point and the branches lopped. If no knife is available, a sharp stone will serve the same purpose. The resulting drops caught in a hat or cap will serve to moisten a swollen tongue or parched lips. A luscious plant, parakelia, squeezed for moisture or cooked and eaten like beans, provides both food and drink. When a waterhole is found, a camp should be made nearby. Once left, it may prove difficult to find again. Remember, life in country like this depends on a good supply of water. Most waterholes carry an abundant supply of fish. Although small and bony, they can provide a nourishing meal for a starving man. The Central Australian natives are nomadic in nature, living wherever water and food is available, and moving on to new areas as soon as food becomes scarce. Make friends with them. They can help you. They have an intimate knowledge of the location of food and water, and the movements and habits of bush animals. Since the rainfall in the interior is not dependable, the amount of food available is very limited. After a fall of rain, the natives will walk long distances to obtain a change of diet. Their only home is the rough bush wurley, a windbreak against the cold night winds, and a shelter from rain, when it does fall. Because of lack of utensils, food is cooked in the ashes. At the age of 45 or 50, men of the tribe no longer take part in hunting expeditions. Nevertheless, the older men are the most respected members of the tribe. That's something you should always remember. The young men develop their tracking ability to a very fine art, as well as high skill in hunting. The spear, together with woomera, are the implements used when hunting big meat. There are red and blue kangaroos, most of which live on the open mulga plains. When hunting kangaroo, the natives usually rest on calm days and go hunting on windy days, when they hunt against the wind. The kangaroo is independent of water supplies and can keep alive on green plants and roots. In times of drought, there are very few birds about, but after rain they appear in thousands. They usually stay near water, feeding on the grass seeds and insect life. During the spring, they make their nests on the branches and in the hollow parts of trees, where the natives collect the eggs and young birds. Lizards are one of the chief sources of meat supply. Even children know how to catch and cook them. Emu meat tastes like poultry, and the eggs keep several days when cooked. A type of creeper found growing among the rocks in mountain gorges and on the banks of rivers is ratninga. The vine is of the bushy type and the fruit of a peculiar hexagonal shape. When cut open, it has the appearance of a passion fruit banana that smells and tastes like mustard. The flesh can be eaten raw, but the seed should be discarded. The winchia is easily recognized by its needle-like leaves. The flower of the winchia contains a sweet black honey at the base of its long yellow tendrils. The berry of the argan lye has a flowery taste, similar to a hawthorn berry. The leaf is like a eucalypt. A search among the grass beside sandy creek beds reveals the ilka toa, a small melon-like vine. The flower is yellow and the fruit resembles a miniature cucumber. It may be eaten raw or baked in the ashes. In the sandy creek beds, a plant called yelka grows. The yelka bulbs are about the size of a small shallot and are considered the daily bread of the natives. Found in most parts of Central Australia, they'll keep in the ground for months. The bulbs, which taste like peanuts, can be roasted in the ashes or eaten raw. Mistletoe, by the name of chankala, is a parasite which grows on other trees and bushes. The sweet flesh of the white or red berry may be eaten raw, but don't eat the seed. You'll find it very bitter. The mulga trees provide the natives with hardwood digging sticks, which are used when searching among the roots and rocks for food. The nest of the honey ant is found by following the little black ant with the two white stripes on the rump back to the ant bed. Dig down into the nest until the honey ant is found. The natives will walk long distances in the hope of finding some of these little black ants. The honey ants are used by their fellow ants as storehouses and contain honey in their bellies, which distend in size. The name witchetty applies to a variety of grubs of a similar type. These grubs, found among the roots of the mulga trees, may be cooked or eaten raw after the head has been removed. A similar type of grub is found by digging among the roots of the roly-poly grass. The witchetty has a distinct flavor of almonds, and although they cause biliousness for a few days if eaten in quantity, an accustomed eater will grow fat on a diet of witchetties alone. A plentiful supply of one variety is found among the ghost gums, which grow on the banks of most creeks. The grub is located by searching along the branches until a hole is found, around which particles of silk are hanging. It is then dug out by means of a knife or sharp rock. There is a creeper which grows over bushes and dead trees after rain. The natives call it lanqua. It produces a fruit resembling a type of cucumber, and while young and tender, is good eating, either raw or boiled. In the grass on the plains, numerous small green shrubs are found after a fall of rain. Several types are easily identified by their purple flower with a yellow center. They bear a small fruit similar to a green tomato. One of these is the catchery plant, which has short spikes along its stems. The leaves are inclined to be woolly. Mbangara is another shrub of a similar type. It is a small bush with a thin greyish leaf. The fruit is small, rather bitter, and should be baked in the ashes. The comparison can be made between the two. Mbangara is on the left and Katchery on the right. Of the same variety, but found among the rocks, is Iranda. The fruit can be eaten raw when ripe. If green, it should be cooked. A grass seed, arabinga, is collected by rubbing the grass between the hands. The seed is ground into flour, made into a damper, and baked in the ashes. Two types of melon found in this area are the paddy and pie melon. The pie melon is similar in shape to the marrow, with a smooth, pale yellow skin. The pie melon tastes like unripened watermelon and can be eaten after cooking in the ashes. The paddy melon is not suitable for human consumption. It has a mottled green skin which can bleach in the sun. The flesh is bitter to taste and will act as a severe purgative if eaten. Among the rocky soil beside creek beds, yalla is found. The leaf of this yam is similar to that of the cultivated sweet potato. By following the stem from the leaf and digging down, the tuberous roots are located. They should be roasted in the hot ashes and peeled before eating. A succulent growth which appears after rain is manuroo. It will keep for weeks, can be cooked in the ashes and eaten. Although of North Queensland origin, a number of grass trees are to be found in the interior. They can, in an emergency, provide a starving man with food. By cutting into the center of the razor-like blades with a knife or sharp rock, the soft white core is reached. Although not very appetizing, it will sustain when other food is not available. Every alternate day throughout the 6-day trip by jeep, contact was made with the Dakota aircraft by the means available to stranded airmen. On the first occasion, the aircraft was heard a long time before it was sighted, and an attempt was made to mark a dropping point with fires lit in the porcupine grass on the side of a hill. The grass was dry and burnt with very little smoke, and the resulting fires could not be seen from the air. A fire which is hardly visible at midday can easily be seen from a long distance at night. To attract the air crew's attention, a Very pistol was fired several times. The Very lights were easily sighted, the position located, and supplies were dropped without delay. On the second occasion, the day being sunny, the heliograph signaling mirror from the Ms. X survival kit was used to make contact. The mirror proved to be very effective. Although it was impossible for the air crew to see the airman, hidden among the scrub, the mirror flash stood out from a great distance. In the absence of a mirror, a tobacco tin can be used. The tour of duty, for those who undertook it, underlined one essential fact. The value of an emergency kit is determined by a knowledge of how and when to use it, and what it contains. In the interior, as in any other region where you might be forced down, survival depends on the combined efforts of those who are being sought, as well as on those who seek. With the understanding of how rest their task and how they can be helped in their search, the dangers associated with a forced landing off the beaten track can be reduced to a minimum. Your chances of survival will be multiplied 100-fold if, when the emergency arises, you are ready to meet it.